So many of you are so far off course because too much of what you believe is connected to or based on relative truth as opposed to absolute truth. Am I fully connected to absolute truth? Definitely not. But I've been moving in that direction. I started moving in that direction when I was in my early 20s. Then I stopped, or I I got distracted and went another direction. I went my own direction. I had these lingering desires for relationships like I saw off television, or if not on television, like just what I've seen. As far as boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife, the whole waking up next to somebody and all that comes with it. But mainly, this stuff was based on, a lot of this was based on my ideas of, well, ideas that I put together based on television and movies. And like a lot of people, I didn't understand the work that goes into, or the work that is needed in order to make these things work. If you want to make them work, that is. If you want to make them work. And what I realized, or started to realize maybe about myself then and maybe now, is that I don't think I want or wanted to put in the necessary work to make these relationships last, because that would have been time and energy that could have been better spent, in my opinion, moving towards absolute truth. As far as I'm concerned, relationships can be almost like a religion unto themselves, a type of worship unto themselves. As far as the commitment and the time and the energy and the conviction required in order to keep them running or moving forward. And when I really look back on all of that, honestly, I don't think I placed that much value on relationships in order to sustain them. It's interesting me talking about this now because I have to remember this. I have to remember that, like, I have to remember when I think back about, well, when I think about my failed relationships, I don't even want to call, maybe I shouldn't even call them failed. I have to stop that too. Just the relationships that have ended. They feel like failures, and I think maybe they all feel like failures when they've ended, or can feel like failures when they've ended, because if they were any good, you when you look back on them and when you look back on those relationships, it's almost like you're chasing a feeling that isn't there anymore. And when you look back on it and it's gone, or it has ended, you feel like a sense of lack or emptiness. But they weren't, I mean, maybe they weren't exactly failures. And I don't know, that just came to me. That just came to me. Because I have been using that phrasing for years. Failed relationships. I've had failed relationships. Maybe they just ran their course. And also, again, I didn't care enough to want them to last till death do us part or anything like that. If I really want to be honest and open with myself. Because there was something I believed was greater, and I still feel is greater, that I was seeking after. And accidentally, and this may sound, I don't, to say this may sound insane, but I believe it is what I was searching after, or what I sought after, which is the absolute truth. May have indirectly led me to the secret of immortality. Well, let me explain what I mean by immortality. I mean, if you were just left alone, if no one has, well, you know what? I don't know if I want to talk about that. Too many of you have such limited views, and so much bias that I can see my words being misinterpreted more than understood. Anyway, I'll say this much because I can't just leave you with that after I've thrown a little bit out there like that. That's kind of a tease. I believe I'll throw out some clues, maybe some hints. And the reason why I believe it's better to throw out clues and hints because when you tell certain things directly, they cannot be, or they may not be as understood as if you've worked to figure out an answer, because that's a part of the answer. The work is a part of the answer. The process is a part of the answer. Figuring out the process is a part of the solution. It's like explaining the benefit of work as opposed to having someone work and allowing them to feel the fatigue and the motivation and the compensation. Not saying that words alone are nothing or don't have a value, but it's not the same as moving in that direction. And moving in a particular direction, you will know. It will not be theory. You will know. It's like explaining weightlifting or explaining exercise as opposed to explaining it along with exercise. One is more complete than the other. And too many of us believe that we can understand things based on having agreed with a concept, and because we've agreed with a concept, we know now. And that is almost like a type of delusion, or can be a type of delusion. Our feelings at times are very biased as it relates to being able to see what it is that we truly know and what we truly are. We want to see ourselves too often in the best light. We want to believe that we put in our best effort, or that we did the best thing possible, or that our intentions were the best, so that we can feel good and satisfied with ourselves. And there's a type of trap in that. I don't trust myself to judge myself. Well, I don't trust myself enough not to scrutinize my thoughts, or I don't trust myself not to doubt all of my motivations, because I have wants that are not connected to absolute truth. I have desires that are not connected to absolute truth. So, you may have to listen to this a couple of times to really think about what it is I'm saying, or some of the concepts I'm saying or discussing. So back to those hints and clues. How would you explore the spirit, or the possibility of a spirit existing within you? How would you explore the possibility that you are connected to the universe in some way? If we can explore mountains and woods and the sea, how would one go about exploring within? Would that be by physically moving in a direction with your flesh? Or would it be from being still and feeling what is there without bias, without narratives? As far as religion, and I mean that may sound easier said than done, because we have learned things, or we have absorbed all types of information, which has led us to even want to seek being able to look within. But isn't the last frontier or the last exploration being able to put all of these things down, or putting all these concepts aside to see what is there? That may sound, it's hard to put these things in words if you're talking about things which you don't even you may not even be sure exist. I'm not so much speaking for myself when I say that. I guess maybe a different way to say it is there are storylines and beliefs which we are aware of, which may have truth in them, and they may have falsehoods in them as well. And in order to be honest with ourselves, we have to be willing to put all of it down, or scrutinize all of it, is what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like when you have to move, when you know you have to go somewhere, when you know you cannot stay where you're at. That's for sure. You know you cannot stay where you're at. Or you believe overall you cannot stay where you're at. Like you have to physically move from a location, maybe a motel, a hotel, a house. When you know you have to go, but you have so many things there. You have to think differently. Things that seemed like they were things to keep and that you would never throw away or give away, now you have to break that thought process because you have no choice. You either sell it, give it away, put it out, or leave it. And these are your only options. I feel like searching for absolute truth puts you in a similar position. if you're really searching for the absolute truth, or open or more partial to the absolute as opposed to relativity, you will find out that you cannot leave and stay at the same time. You have to leave. You have to move forward. You have to go. And everything cannot go with you. Your material possessions cannot go with you, or may not go with you. Certain relationships may not be able to go with you. Or certain relationships are not factors. Well, they are contributing negatively to that goal of reaching or touching on the absolute. One interesting thing I've come to find out is that it's very separating from people and things that you don't like is not as difficult as separating from things that you like. Needing to separate from things and people that you like is a very painful, or can be a very painful reality. To give an example of what I mean, and imagine yourself being as a child and your loved ones are also children. Now imagine coming to the realization that adulthood exists, and that there are benefits of adulthood that you will not touch on if you remain a child, or as a child. If you continue valuing toys and playing Duck Duck Goose and freeze tag and all that stuff more than growing or becoming an adult, you will not become an adult. I'm not saying that you can never play freeze tag or Duck Duck Goose, but you have to be able to put it down, to put these ideas down and these values down enough to move in a certain direction, which is the direction of adulthood. So your best friends might actually be your greatest uh, I don't want to say opponents. I can't think of the word right now. I can't think of a word, but they might provide the greatest resistance against you moving to the next level because you enjoy each other so much. You see each other and you step into your old roles so easily, but you can't grow when you do that. It's like a comfortable rut. On one side, you enjoy the company and the trust and the loyalty and the camaraderie. On the other side, you know that you are not growing. Or you know that there's another stage or there are other levels that you could be touching on or moving towards, but you are consciously not doing it because of the value you place on familiarity and what you believe to be loyalty. But if you are not, in my opinion, overall loyal to the absolute truth, then, in my opinion, to some degree, you are betraying those who you love or say that you love. Because there is danger in not moving towards the absolute. The absolute is 100% fact, 100% valid, always and forever. If you're not moving towards that, then it's like you're not calibrating. It's like you're not placing a high value on accuracy. I think I gave an example before about having a calculator and it says, well, if you press 2 plus 2 and that calculator shows a 5, that's not a calculator you want to use for any serious calculation for yourself or anybody else. But as it relates to our religions and our races and our cultures, we are willing to see things from our group's perspective and negate other perspectives. As if our group represents the totality of well, I can end it with that. As if our group represents the totality. As if life and existence ends and starts with our group. Therefore, we don't need other perspectives. If you think about that just for a couple of seconds, you'll know that that's not accurate. Other groups exist, other thoughts and concepts exist. So anyway, I'll leave you with this. The principles I'm talking about can be found. Some of this can be found. It can be found in the Bible. It can be found in the Bhagavad Gita. It can be found in certain Eastern religions, as far as like Zen. But it's. I mean, what will keep you safe, in my opinion, is what will keep you mentally and spiritually safe, in my opinion, is having a practical foundation, not making things too complicated, or starting from simplicity. And simplicity, I think, simplicity like I want to be happy. Or I want peace in my life, and I believe other people want peace in their lives. I believe all living things want peace in their lives. You don't need a book to tell you that. You can see that in nature. They may not want peace as it relates to hunting. They may not want peace for someone else as it relates to personal benefit, but we all want peace as it relates to our own satisfaction and comfort. And I believe nature proves that, or nature is evidence of that. And religion strengthens that. That's why most religions talk about principles to maintain peace, at least within your own group. And they are often the same principles as far as not stealing, not lying, not being gossipy, not letting anger and hatred take over your life, having patience, all these things. So this is what I mean as far as a simple foundation, or a practical foundation. It doesn't require you to have blind faith. These are things that don't require you to have blind faith in a particular God or creator. These are things that have stood the test of time, principles that have stood the test of time, and they are found in nature. This is what I mean by a practical foundation. don't forget these things. When you find yourself confused, go back to these things and then work your way up. But the highest levels, in my opinion, of awareness involve beliefs which go against nature, like survival. In the Bible, there's somewhere, I forgot where, but in the Bible, it said that if you lose your life, you will find it. The laws of nature as we know it don't seem to support that, or I'll rephrase it. The laws of nature as we are aware have yet to support that. But I don't want to make that too complicated. To give an example of losing your life and finding it, well, you know what? That starts going off into the subject or concept of reincarnation, as well as spirit realms and um, uh, energy centers within yourselves. And that can be complicated. But I'll say this much: on an intuitive level, I think most people can understand um, like, let's say, like a parent losing their life for their child, or risking their life for their child, or an honorable, or a soldier putting their life on the line for their group. You know, a law enforcement official putting their life on the line for the law. Or just a stranger, maybe just working as an agent of goodness or love for the universe, decides to put their life on the line to save a total stranger. On some level, we know that we must keep moving forward and strengthening our goodness and building on that foundation. And I believe in the Bible, as it relates to the phrasing, if you lose your life, you will find it. It's related to that, or it's building on top of that. Otherwise, it's easy to cash in and become a bad guy, like many people will and have. If not bad guy, an agent for darkness, an agent for the destructive. My job is to do good things for the world or for humanity or for my group. But because my life was threatened, now I'm going to stop doing that. If it's that easy, then what were you? What were you? What are you? If you can be bought, if you can be manipulated, what are we if we can be bought and manipulated? My job is to be a humanitarian person and to help people, but my life was threatened, so I'm going to stop that. I'm just going to be watching TV and Netflix and drinking and all that because that's safer. What are you? What were you? Where are you going as a being if you can be bought off like that, like so many of you have, at times including myself? It may not seem that way. It may not be that cut and dry or black and white. Hey, can I buy you off? Can I buy off your integrity? How much? How much to buy off your integrity? It may not be that simple. Usually it's not. It's a series of of choices which compromise one's integrity to the point where they don't even know what they are or who they're serving. All they know is when they look in the mirror, they don't see what they once saw as far as an innocent or maybe good person. So explore yourself. Be still. Observe your thoughts. Observe all of the thoughts you can. Observe your feelings. Scrutinize your thoughts and your feelings. Be honest with yourself. Be willing to see uncomfortable and painful things.